York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And a happy end of the week, Friday morning. Good morning to you. I am Gary Sutton and Mark McKenzie here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show right here on WOYK, the main street of York. 6:05 on the 11th of July, 2025. 71 balmy degrees here on Brooks Robinson Plaza at Wellspan Park, where the Revs return home tonight after two comeback wins the last 2 days. And we'll be doing the game tonight here on WOYK, Daryl and I, and looking forward to that. I think it's 6:10, 6:15 airtime, first pitch at 6:30 for a 3-game weekend series here at Wellspan Park. So a great chance to go to YorkRevolution.com, get your tickets for tonight's game, and get on out here and support the Revs, who have started the second half of the season now with a 2-1 record. So just a little promotion there for the Revs to start out. But today is Friday. It's a day we look back on the week and a lot of different stories, but I have the story of the week today. The story of the week.
Boy, talk
today.
about
and
overselling, maybe?
No. No, I'm not even worried about overselling it. I'm telling you, and I'll tell you, because it's up at the question of the day today, too, which I would tell you about in a second or two. But today is a huge day. I mean, we're going to be talking about kindness this morning. It's a Good Friday here on the Gary Sutton Show, and Kevin Smith will be stopping by this morning. Ted Check will be stopping in today, too, to talk a little bit about, some of the things that happened in media this past week. He's a former journalist and author of Saving the Beast. And then we have, as I said, Kevin at 7 o'clock. We got Gracie Etienne, Dr. Gracie Etienne, on your wellness. And he talks a lot about mental health at 7:35. He'll be with us on that this morning to help you and help me, too. And Jim McClurin, then, York historian, with a great topic for today. And no, Dr. Nick Pandelides. We understand he had to go out for a sudden funeral there, and
Yes.
we're going to miss him this morning, but he will not be with us. But we'll have some extra little things that Mark has put together. An anniversary that is huge. That is huge today, Mark. I heard Mark working on it this morning, and one that somebody thought was a good idea. It was maybe the worst idea ever. Would you say that's overselling that, Mark?
I don't know if it was the worst idea, but
it really blew up.
We did this with was it yesterday or the day before, where you might have heard about it, but maybe you don't remember all the details.
Right.
And I think refreshing those details really does help put it in
might
perspective.
resurrect some anger you had at the time.
Maybe.
Possibly, a heavy opinion you had at the time. So we'll do that at 8:35 this morning. Is that the ultimate tease? Are we whetting people's appetite there? Okay, here is the story of the week. All right,
Okay.
and this prompted
Is this
me.
the Epstein thing?
No, not even that. Not even that surpassed this story.
Wow.
Here it is. How many foot rubs would your husband have to give you to make up for this? I would say probably more than 500. Anyway, here we go. A guy in France. It doesn't even start out with a guy in Florida. A guy in France.
Okay.
There are so many thoughts that go through your head after I tell you this story. I know I'm just dragging it out. But a guy in France. Did I mention a guy in France? A guy in France is in the news after he went on a road trip with his wife.
Okay.
Now that is not why he's in the news. He forgot her at a gas station along the way. See, I told you, it's the greatest story of the week.
Wait, he didn't.
And there's an and to this sentence yet. And didn't realize it for nearly 200 miles.
Oh my Lord! She was being quiet.
Unbelievable. May
Wow.
I say this again? A guy in France is in the news after he went on a road trip with his wife.
Can we see if? Can we see if he wants to emigrate?
Oh my God!
Somewhere else.
Yeah, he's trying to get in the country now.
Yeah.
And when Trump finds out why he's trying to get in, he'll let him in immediately. But anyway, he has a little history. Comma, forgot her at a gas station along the way.
Wow.
Comma, and didn't realize for nearly 200 miles.
200 miles.
It gets better. It gets better. They haven't released his name. Thank God for this guy. But he's 62 years old. His wife is 60. Their 22-year-old daughter was also with them, but asleep in the back seat.
I knew there was sleeping involved.
But the daughter, so the daughter didn't wake up and say, "Hey, Dad,
right?
Where's mom?" Yeah. Okay. All right, here we go. They left Paris for Morocco last Friday night to beat traffic.
They're driving to Morocco? Oh, my Lord.
This story just keeps getting better. I mean,
they must have a ferry maybe from...
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
The Gibraltar?
Onto the African, continent.
Yeah.
Right. Wouldn't that be great? We got in the ferry and I didn't even mention that. I mean, that might even make the story better. But anyway, they left Paris for Morocco last Friday night to beat traffic. It's a long drive, about 27 hours, and they made several stops during the first leg. All right. He pulled into a gas station around 4:30 a.m., apparently to fuel up. Then he left without her and didn't realize for 186 miles. It's not clear if she'd been sleeping in the back or what. Maybe she got out and he didn't realize it, but he called the cops at 8:30 a.m. to report it. He couldn't remember which gas station he stopped at. Oh my God, this is too good.
Well, he's on a trip.
I know. It's so strange place. Couldn't remember which gas station he stopped at or even the city that it was in. And his daughter was sleeping during the stop, so she wasn't any help. But cops eventually found the wife by tracking her cell phone. No word on why she couldn't just use her phone to call him.
Yes.
I mean, that does come to mind.
Where's the responsibility? It's a marriage.
Oh, it's incredible. But it turned out she'd been sitting there 4 hours waiting for him to come back.
And steaming the whole time.
Oh, my gosh. Cops thought there was a chance he left her there on purpose. Do you think? But decided it was an honest mistake.
Oh.
So he's not in any legal trouble, just trouble with his wife, I would imagine.
So they didn't have an argument. This was not the result of an argument.
No. And here's the most incredible line of this story coming up next. The most incredible line of the story. He swung back, picked her up, and they continued on with their vacation.
In silence.
Oh, my God. They continued on with their vacation.
Wow. Well, it was a vacation. I mean, it's not the kind of thing you can just...
Yeah, is that the most amazing story of the week?
Actually, I have audio of them in the car.
Yeah. Now, you do? Go ahead.
Yeah, they're excited about their trip to Morocco.
Right.
Here we go again, Junior. We're off on the road to Morocco. This taxi
the road
is
film
tough on the spine.
Anyway,
Bob Hope and Bing Crosby. That's good. I loved it. Well, here, so I find this little follow-up, and we'll talk more about this. Here's a question this morning that I actually put up. Just a fun question today at Gary Sutton. And I put this story up, by the way, this morning at Facebook. So if you want to read it, go ahead and read it so you can show your friends if they don't believe it. But the story I put up was, or the question I put up was, what is the biggest thing you have forgotten when you went on a trip? We assume probably not your wife, but who knows? Biggest thing, maybe you have one close to that, but please let us know this morning at Facebook. You can go to Gary Sutton Show on Facebook, or you can text the show here and let me know at 833-478-4729. That's 833-478-4729. So this leads me to think about a lot of different things in this story.
Is he sleeping on the couch?
Is he sleeping anywhere near her right now?
She waited 4 hours.
4 hours.
And didn't call him.
Didn't call him. I mean, there was a lot of lack of common sense in this story. But here's the thing. The top 5 signs the guy in France who left his wife at a gas station and drove for another 200 miles did it on purpose. Here's, there's a little investigation needed here. For example, there was, as he drove away, he shouted, "Free at last!" That might have been a subtle thing. No, we're just kidding on that. Yeah. When she finally reached him on his phone, a hooker answered. That probably, no, I don't think that. He was found by following the trail of her clothes he threw out of the car. I doubt if that was it either.
too.
He left with his wedding ring on his finger, but when he came back, his wedding ring was on eBay. So his name is Bill Clinton. That could be, that'd be legitimate. He refers to their time apart as the greatest 200 miles of my life. No. His first words when he picked her up, well, this sucks. She was just found alone at another gas station. Or finally, they're married. That was it. But is that an amazing story? I mean, how do you forget? Now, if she was sleeping in the back seat and they stopped and he was getting gas quietly,
right.
And she somehow got out and went to the bathroom, didn't say anything to him or something like that.
I mean, how did
it might be kind of legitimate.
How did he figure out it was okay to leave? Right? Wouldn't he be waiting for her? If
she told him that she was getting out of the car to go in and get something? But maybe she and the daughter. See, I think the missing part here is front seat or back seat where she was. Did she get? If she got out of the front seat, you'd kind of notice,
right?
I mean, there was a person sitting here with me for the first however 100 miles I drove.
Right
now, there's not. That would be it. That would be a telltale sign. If she was in the back seat and got out, I think then it becomes very legitimate. But don't most of us get in and check the rear view mirror and check things and make sure everything's in order? I mean, I don't know.
Especially when you're ready to set out again, you're probably checking fuel. Maybe. Right. So we've got fuel. We've got maybe a little refreshment to keep us going.
Honey, you okay?
Yes.
Everybody, the kids sleeping, so they're no help. But But what is the biggest thing you've ever left behind? Do you remember, Mark, anything you've ever left behind on a vacation
I'm sure it was. I'm sure I've done it.
People weren't involved, though, right?
No.
Yeah. Where you said, honey, are we missing something? You go, of course, Home Alone. What's that whole thing based on?
Yeah.
But that's a little different kind of situation.
Yeah.
But this is great. This is great. And
we have.
So now here's another question. Here's another question.
Yes.
What is this guy got to do? Apparently, he and she went on vacation, so that's part of his penance here. That he's going to go on vacation with her, and I can only imagine what those conversations are sounding like. Or maybe they're laughing about it. Maybe they have a wide ability to forgive, and maybe they just said, honey, I understand. I was in the back seat. I should have told you I was getting out. Put it on her. I mean, put the blame on her. And I'm not. For ladies out there right now who are getting mad, I'm not suggesting that always happen because it's usually our fault. But I'm just saying in this case, somehow I would love to have been the daughter on this vacation. Once she woke up and heard what happened and having to listen to the rest of the vacation. I just
maybe she's going to jump out.
So what is the biggest thing you've ever left behind? You've gone on vacation. You've left it behind somewhere. Please go to Gary Sutton Show today, for the love of God, and let me know because I am really, really interested in the end of this story. And maybe something you've left behind. Maybe you left something like a dog or a cat, something like that. Maybe you took a pet with you or something.
I think it was like toothbrushes or like all the toiletries. I forgot to put them in the bag and had them in a bag, but forgot to put.
But they were lying on the bed or wherever you put them.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, there is the story of the week this morning. Feel free on Facebook or at our text. Please let us know your thoughts about this. Here's kind of what we're going to do today. Why do you think this happened? Your opinion. Why do you think this happened? 833-478-4729. I'm dying to hear this text. Why do you think this happened? Take your guess. I mean, you get the chance to, and now that you've heard this story, you get the chance to tell us why it happened in your expert opinion. Just having a little fun. 833-478-4729. I'm Gary Sutton. Mark McKenzie with me here on a Friday morning. And Mark?
Coming up after the break, we will delve into the special holidays today.
There you go. All kinds of stuff going on a Friday morning. It is July the 11th here on the Gary Sutton Show, the main street of York on WOYK.
He swings here and whacks one to deep left field. It is gone. A line drive home run. Jalen Davis, it doesn't matter whose bat he's using. It's his 10th of the year, and the Revs get one back here in the 8th. It's 5-3. He fires, and a swing, a ground ball at shortstop. Brewer charging. The tying run's going to score. Throws to first, and Simonite gets the job done. Arocho went on contact, and this game is tied 5-5 here in the 8th.
And the Revs down 5-2 in the 8th inning again last night, much as they did the night before when they were down 3-1 in their last at bat. Got a home run and then tied it up and went on to win in extra innings. Last night, they did it again. They're down 5-2 in the 8th inning. They come back and they win 8-6 in extra innings again. And the Revs are back in first place, tied with 3 other teams. There are only 5 teams in the division. So 4 teams tie for first place right now in the early going, but 2-1 and back atop the North Division. But this team, you talk about battling back. They are such a neat team to watch because they never say die. And they win the game 8-6 last night. They got 3 in the 10th. And we'll have that a little bit for you later on. And then the other team got 1, the Rockers, High Point Rockers, who are, by the way, the first half champions in the South. And so this was kind of a showdown of sorts on the road. And the Revs coming back to win 2 of these games and winning 2 out of 3 in that series, coming home tonight to face the Staten Island Ferry Hawks, who we've had a tough time with this year so far, frankly, and need to lay one on them this weekend. 3-game series coming up starting tonight. And we'll have it all right here on WOYK 98.9 FM, 1350 WOYK AM. But they are a fun team to watch because they never, ever quit, which is cool.
So today is July 11th.
Yeah.
Many different. It is, for example, on one hand, it is All-American Pet Photo Day. And on the other hand, it is Cheer Up the Lonely Day.
Okay.
So pets can cheer up the lonely.
Yeah, they can. You take a pet into somebody, and they a lot of people take them to, senior citizens' homes and hospitals and places like that. Yeah.
It is National Motorcycle Day.
Okay.
Ever drive a motorcycle?
I've been on one. I don't know that I've ever driven one. I'm kind of the school where the longer you drive it, the better the chance is that you're going to fall off it someday. But But that's just me. I mean, I know people who ride motorcycles are very safe and they enjoy it. And, it's pretty cool. Of course, we live in York. I mean, Harley Davidson was the name here for a long, long time.
We just talked about that. Sure. This is the weekend that it's Harley, their it's Founders Weekend, and that's in Wisconsin.
Right.
National Swimming Pool Day.
Okay.
Which, you can't do better than in the heart of dog days of summer.
If you need a reminder to go to your dentist, it's Leon Spink's birthday. Remember Leon Spink's?
Is it his
gap
birthday?
in the front? Yeah, it is.
It is Worldwide Art Day.
Okay.
Worldwide Population Day.
Oh.
Any idea? Let's ask the Chat GPT.
What's supposed to happen on that day?
Where is...
Maybe you're supposed to help add to the population.
Which
would be kind of a good day.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
What is the world population?
Go ahead.
No, you.
I'm just saying.
I'm asking you. Give me a ballpark.
8.8 billion.
8.2.
Thank you. That wasn't bad, though.
Oh, it says, here at worldpopulationreview.com, they say it's 8 billion.
Well,
and others.
What's 0.8 among friends?
Anyway, 0.2, yeah.
I saw it's Free Slurpee Day.
Yes, food holidays. Yeah, it's Slurpee Day because it's 7-Eleven's birthday.
Oh, okay. 7-Eleven. Yeah.
And my newfound, I really love frozen Coke.
Do you really?
You want to cool off? Just watch out for brain freeze.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, man, the older you get, the more it seems to hurt. So,
and the other national holiday for food is huge.
Yes,
huge.
It is a
huge
American classic.
National French Fry Day,
and ironic as well because it's.
You have any thoughts? Any thoughts on French fries?
You mean pommes frites?
Yes.
You can go.
It's French fries. We're in America, Jack.
Well,
so yeah,
there's what you can do with it though is a number of things. You can go high end. Where you can use truffle oil or you can fry them in duck fat.
This is why I ask these questions, ladies and gentlemen.
And that is, it gives it a whole new, it's just so special that way. Or you can just go like
McDonald's.
Actually, where did we go? That we went to the Retu's Twin Kiss, in Mannheim the other day, and Deb says she says I'm going to get some fries. Do you want some fries? I said no. I ended up eating at least half of the thing.
Oh yeah,
and they were hot and fresh, and that's the key. They got to be hot and fresh, and they were the shoestring kind. So very, very good. But
I go over to Yanni's.
Yes.
Who is opening yet another store, by the way, in Dauphin County.
Wow.
I just want to mention that. But they make some of the best, what I call like boardwalk fries. They are the kind of fries, and they're not overdone. In fact, I almost like them not quite underdone, but there's a certain, and they make them there. And then I go up to Poblano's, and they make a sweet potato fry with salt on, caramelized in the pan, which is unbelievable to eat. I mean, I love that.
I like fresh cut fries.
That's
generally.
what I'm saying, fresh cut, and that's what they're doing there.
Yeah.
And so I don't like the pre-made stuff.
One more one more food holiday. Have you taken a position on World Kebab Day?
Anything that is normal meat on a stick, I'm there.
What do you mean normal?
Normal meat. I don't need rattlesnake on a stick or any of that kind of.
What about
exotic
lamb?
Oh, lamb's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, lamb is good.
The thing I don't to get kebab. I mean, they're putting chunks of stuff on a
you put
stick to cook
vegetables and tomatoes and all
I like stuffed all together if they can do it.
And then I just wipe it off the stick and put it on a plate and I like kebabs. I'm a big kebab fan.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
simple. Yes.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'd take a French fry before a kebab.
Okay. Anyway, coming up next is Ted Check this morning. And we're going to get into some of the stuff this week with the whole Epstein talk and the press and all that kind of stuff. Ted will take that on. He is the author of Saving the Beast. And he talks about trying to save news and the way news is made in this country and the way news is reported in this country, more importantly, not the way it's made, but the way it's reported. He'll take a look at that when he joins us this morning at 6:35, all here on the Gary Sutton Show. We'll be back with more right after this. this Beach Baby?
It is.
I actually knew the beginning of this before it even came up.
You remember back in old LA
Oh,
when everybody drove a Chevrolet?
oh.
Whatever happened to the boy next door?
Were these guys like Beach Boy wannabes or
This,
something?
a little bit, but it was a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
They didn't. This was pretty much their only thing. The odd year for a Friday, 1974. I thought we would go back.
Here's the chorus.
Beach baby, give me your hand, give me something that I can remember.
Kind of a happy song,
It is
and it's got a little that Beach Boy tinge, doesn't it?
a little bit.
Just a touch, not enough.
Not a lot
which
of
is probably why they
falsetto.
were a one-hit wonder.
That could be.
So anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on a Friday morning where it is 6:34, and we welcome in Ted Check, author of Saving the Beast, a recovering reporter reflects on America's broken media and how to fix it. He also is a recovering reporter, and he joins us here this morning. Also a good friend. Hey, Ted, how you doing?
Hey, Gary, I'm doing great, man. And I got to apologize. I totally ghosted you last week because I was at the beach.
Well, we weren't here last week, so it's okay. I mean, yeah. So we forgot you too. So it's a mutual. Yeah, but nothing as bad as the story we had this morning about the guy that left his wife at the gas station in France and didn't discover for 186 miles. So nothing that bad.
What the?
It's a great.
Wow.
It's a great
That's
story.
crazy.
Yeah, guy stops at a gas station, gets whatever he gets the car gassed up. They're heading to Morocco. They're leaving Paris. They head to Morocco, and 186 miles later, he realizes that somehow he left his wife at the gas station. His daughter is in the back seat. She's 22 years old. He's 62. She's the wife's 60, and calls police. Can't remember the gas station. Can't remember the town where he gassed up, but they eventually find her by tracking her cell phone. And he goes back and gets her. And the most amazing part of this story, Ted, they continue on the vacation. The most amazing part of the story. They continue on the vacation, albeit maybe more silently than you might normally be on vacation with somebody else. But then, So our story pales in comparison to this. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, I do. I mean, wow. Maybe his plan was all along to leave the wife there. Who knows?
What do you say when you pick her up again after 4 hours of forgetting her? Now, I said the biggest thing missing from this story. If I'm a journalist, now you tell me because you were a journalist and you are.
Yeah.
The biggest thing missing from the story is, was she in the front seat when she got out of the car, apparently unbeknownst to him or something, or was she in the back seat? If she's in the back seat, story becomes legit because you could forget her. If she got out of the car, you didn't know it. You get in the car and drive on. If she's in the front seat, you got a problem. Because you might notice after 5 or 10 miles that the person who was sitting next to you in the front seat no longer is there. That could raise a little bit of a question mark. I'm just saying. So, am I thinking the right way? Am I thinking the right way in how I would report this story?
Oh yeah. That right there, Gary, wants me or makes me want to be a reporter again. I'll tell you that right now.
See what I knew I would touch on your thirst.
Bizarre stories.
Yeah, I knew I would touch on your thirst. I knew I would. Titillate your thought about jumping back out in the field again there, but
in a heartbeat,
Yeah.
For a bizarre story like that, definitely.
Now, the stories this week. I know you and I go back over the stories of the press each week, but you were interested this week on the mainstream media and how they reported on the Trump Epstein client list debacle. That's been interesting. I guess it was the Homeland Secretary Noam. No, it wasn't either. It was Pam Bondi. Who's the Attorney General, who says, I've got a list here on my desk of the client list. And all of a sudden this week says, no, I don't. And the Justice Department says, no, there was never such a list. And then people start saying, well, what the heck is going on here? And, of course, we know that Trump knew Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, there are pictures around. But he said, I never did anything with the guy in terms of all the stuff that he was accused of. And so what is going on here with the press and how they handled it this week? What's your take?
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole thing just smells worse than a week-old catfish. I'm telling you. Yeah, right. There's no client list. If there's no client list, are we to conclude that there are no clients? And if there are no clients, then why was Epstein in jail? Why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail? But yeah, why did Pam Bondi say it's on my desk? Why did Trump say he was going to release it? Why did Kash Patel say that the FBI had the list? Then you got the video. The video was lost. Oh, then suddenly it's found. Remember the video cameras suddenly weren't working precisely when he died in jail? Yeah.
Right.
So, but I think we're at a very interesting moment here because we have the mainstream media, we have the so-called new media that has emerged, and we have the conservative media all asking the tough questions. It's very rare, I would say, that you see that happening. They're all suspecting a cover-up. They're all asking the tough questions.
I mean, it does raise a lot of questions, and it does, all this stuff. Well, what? Nothing here to look at, and so forth. And we're sitting there going, well, where the reporting? And the reporting, you're correct, looks kind of consistent across the board here in terms of everybody involved in those three areas you mentioned, saying, wait a second. This one, it's not that anybody's necessarily all going out with an agenda on their hands. They're going out and saying, there would be a legitimate question if you say it was here, now it's not here. There's a lot of room to roam in between there, right?
Well, yeah. And the other interesting thing that I found was that so the mainstream media, if you were, as many people would say, the mainstream media, is left leaning. And then if you were to say that there was a client list, and if it was a client list of people from across the board, then you could conclude, well, the left-leaning media wouldn't want to report on this because there might be people on that list that they would want to protect. But they have cast that aside, and they've set that aside, and they said, you know what, we're going to be legitimate journalists, at least for this particular story, and we're going to report on it. That's what I find fascinating.
Do you think that's the reason? I mean, or are they here? I'll be devil's advocate for a second in our conspiratorial world of today, and they'd say, okay, let's see, Bill Clinton's on this list, maybe, but if Trump's on this list, is Bill Clinton worth sacrificing to get Donald Trump? You could say that, right? I mean, if you were looking at it from the left-leaning side of things. Now, I'm not suggesting they are necessarily, but I'm saying in the conspiratorial world that we throw out there from time to time, that would be one way of looking at it. On the other side, you've got the conservative group who say, okay, well, we're exposing Epstein and all these people are on the list, and Donald Trump said he would put it out there, and here's Pam Bondi says, there's the list on my table, and then all of a sudden it disappears. So he's letting us down right now by not following through with what he said he would do on this list, right? So you got the conspiratorial side and the other side, and then you have the middle of the road there, the new media you were talking about, who maybe says, well, we just want to know the answer. Come on.
Sure.
So am I looking at it from the right way there? I don't know.
No, I think so. Yeah, the motivations may be different, but I think the overarching motivation also is money, because this is really hot right now. This is Trump. And it was a very interesting moment. I'm sure you saw it when he was having that cabinet meeting.
Yes.
And it kind of kicked all this off. Well, there was the Axios reporting from 4 days ago where they were the first ones to report that the DOJ was saying that there's no list. But then there was a cabinet meeting with Trump, and the reporter asked Trump about it, and he says, "Why are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?"
Yeah, why?
It kind of reminded me of, isn't it like a Shakespearean thing? Methinks thou dost protest too much.
Right.
Yeah, so I think the overarching motivation is money, because this is a hot issue, and it's garnering so much attention that everybody's going to report on it. Everybody's going to pile on and report on it, because it's just getting so many clicks, if you will. I think that is really ultimately what it comes down to.
Well, in the national tabloid kind of mentality we have in this country, the impulse buy, walking out of the store, seeing the headline and buying the trashy paper or whatever it is, you're looking at this, you're saying the whole thing since Epstein came to the forefront here in the country was who else was involved? And it's never been answered. Right. There have been a few names thrown around, and, some people said, well, but, the whole thing has kind of been hush-hush. You think about it, outside of Ghislaine Maxwell and him, that was it. I mean, nobody else is, and of course the prince there in England, who was associated with the pictures and stuff. But bottom line is, nobody has ever been held to account except for those two. And it looks like there were a lot of other people with some money, with some position in the world, who are
Power,
kind of
yeah.
around this power, who are around this stuff, and yet, nothing to see here. So it has been a question that no one has ever really asked hard, and now all of a sudden, it looks like the question is getting asked. But again, in the bombastic way that the Trump administration threw it out there with Bondi saying, here it is. And it was like all of a sudden someone went down and listened, wait a second, there's some people on here that maybe could hurt us or could be hurt who we are friendly with or whatever, that maybe we ought to put this thing to bed. And they're trying to put it to bed, and it's most awkward in the way it's going about it.
Yeah, and this was one of the main things that Trump campaigned on. So the MAGA crowd is very angry about that. It's a promise that has not been kept.
Yep.
And so they're like, whoa, wait a minute. You can't do that. You can't dangle that in front of us and then not deliver.
Right.
That's a bait and switch right there. So that's one of the overarching things. The other is that I think a lot of people thought, hey, this is indicative of, maybe this will finally be an example of the elites, the powerful, not getting away with it. They always get away with it.
Great point.
It's kind of like, in the past how the prostitutes used to get arrested, but the Johns got away with it.
Right.
The people with the money got away with it. And this is going to be, we're finally going to hold these people accountable. And yet it slipped through the fingers, like sand.
And now people can come back and say, oh, it's just like everybody else. Nothing's really different. Yeah, I mean, you can hear it. So where does this story end, in your opinion? Where does this thing go in the long run?
Well, I think that possibly there could be some leaking that's going to start. Mm-hmm. There's going to be possibly some whistleblowers. Although that could prove to be very dangerous for those individuals. It takes a lot of courage to do something like that.
Right.
But also groups like there's a guy named Tom Sutton. He heads up a group called Judicial Watch.
Yes.
He's got a lawsuit going to, or I think it's a FOIA. I think it's the Freedom of Information Act case going on right now. He's trying to get the list. I think there are ways to go about it. There was, we're going to see some more. This is not going to go away. The best thing to do, public relations wise, is for Trump to hold a news conference and say, you know what, I was mistaken. Here's why, here's why I said what I said, or here's why we said there was no client list. Just totally do a 180.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what?
Here's the list.
Here's the problem is, I haven't heard Pam Bondi say word one about this since it happened. Have I missed anything on that, or has she said something?
Well, it was during that cabinet meeting. I think that possibly was the last time that she spoke publicly about it. When she said, "Yeah, I'll talk about it," Trump kind of tried to cut her off or whatever.
Yeah,
and that may have been the last time. So that was what was that?
That's the last time it was referred
Monday?
to, and Trump gets to come in and said, "Hey, you guys are still talking about this, are you?" And she gets kind of shielded there a little bit, but I'm saying she has not said word two about this after saying word one, which is what kind of started this whole thing off. So I'm saying the next time she has to speak about it, it's going to be that's going to be newsworthy, because you either have to say, I was mistaken, which is tough to say because you made a big deal of bragging about the fact it was on your desk. So you can't really do that. So what are you going to say? I can't wait to hear what the next part of this story is. If it is, if legitimately there is a list, and apparently she left no doubt there was. So final thoughts.
Right. She can't go into hiding. Pam Bondi cannot go into hiding. Somebody is gonna corner her, or she's gonna make a public appearance, and I just don't think that this is going to go away anytime soon.
I don't either.
People were saying that, speculating, there's going to have to be a distraction created in order to get people's attention drawn elsewhere. But that aside, I just think it has legs. It's garnered people's attention. It stinks of a cover-up, and so we'll just have to see what happens next.
It doesn't look good, and at the end of the day, the Epstein story, Epstein story, it has never ended. It has never come to an end yet for people, even though people, Epstein's dead and Maxwell's in prison. It has never really ended just yet for people, unless they wanted to put their head in the sand and say, "Oh, it's okay."
Right.
So, yeah, I'll be anxious to see to be continued, my friend. Hey, so anyway, thanks so much for the apology, but not needed, because I forgot to tell you last week that we were off on July 4th. So
we ghosted each other's mutual ghosting.
Yeah, but neither of us left anybody for 200 miles. So, forget that, right? We're okay. We're okay.
We're doing all right, Gary.
Yeah, we're doing all right, buddy. Hey, have a great weekend, and I'll catch you next Friday, okay?
Sounds great, Gary.
Thanks,
Talk to you
Ted.
then.
Take care. And don't forget to pick up a copy of Ted's book, the Saving the Beast. Yeah, it's on Amazon, and Ted Check, CZECH. It's a really interesting book, so pick it up and check it out. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more here on the Gary Sutton Show. What do we have up next here, Mark?
A mega merger.
Mega merger? Oh, my goodness. Can't wait to see what that's all about. Right here on WOYK, it's the main street of York County. It's one of my favorite Chicago songs. One of the great sounds of all time. By the way, if you ever want to hear a group that copies them, Leonid and Friends is packing the house around the country on the tour, but Chicago, unbelievable. Hey, listen to this coming up. Really good part.
The feeling is clear. Clear as a blue sky on a Sunday.
Being a trombone player, I've been a Chicago fan. I used to play in a band. We played some Chicago stuff, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and all kinds of things like that. But
How is that to play?
it's not bad. It's not bad. You listen to the trombones in this, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Jimmy Pankow.
Jimmy Pankow, exactly.
Because I love you. You know I do.
All right.
You love me too.
All right.
What do you think? You felt like you were in the room with Chicago, didn't you? I know you did.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show.
I was
here.
in some room.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I get off like that now and then. My falsetto is not what it used to be, but yeah. Anyway, great to be back. Mark's got some news under the radar for you right here.
Yeah, check this out. Hold on to your cornflakes, okay?
Uh-oh.
WK Kellogg, maker of Frosted Flakes and Rice Krispies, is being sold to candy maker Ferrero, which makes Nutella, Ferrero Rocher, and Baby Ruth. Ferrero also owns Blue Bunny ice cream. The deal's valued at $3.1 billion. Ferrero was founded in Italy in 1946 and entered the U.S. market in 1969. It's been looking to acquire, invest in, and grow iconic brands. The cereal business was split 2 years ago. WK Kellogg produces cereals. Kellanova, its snack business, was sold to Mars last year. Ginny Coselda, Fox News.
Good Lord. How many different companies were involved there in the space of a minute? That Ferrero Rocher is that one that's wrapped in all that really fancy-looking wrapping, but it's cheap candy.
I think it's hazelnut.
Yeah, cheap
Some
candy.
sort of
Yeah, very cheap. Hazelnut. Who wants hazelnut on the food chain of candies? Is where, Mark? Come on.
It's below almonds.
Yeah, thank you. Way below almonds. It's like, hazelnut. Is there anything else in the box? There isn't. All right, I'll eat that.
There's a part of mergers that rubs me the wrong way.
Why so?
Well, I mean, you're eliminating in some cases competition by taking them inside, and that's.
Are you eliminating the pedigree of the product also a little bit?
I don't know. I just think that you're reducing the competition.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So
you can make whatever slop you want to make and sell it. Yeah.
And in this case, Ferrero is not making any cereal,
right?
So maybe not directly with that particular one, but usually
you don't want people messing with your cereal. You just don't want that.
Exactly.
No.
Hey, speaking of new things,
it turns out researchers didn't have to go far from the Denver Museum of Nature and Science to find a dinosaur fossil bone. Ironically, the discovery was made right under the museum's parking lot. It happened after a 750-foot hole was drilled so scientists could study geothermal heating. Museum curator James Hagedorn says the chances of finding a dinosaur under these circumstances is extremely unlikely.
Finding a bone in a rock core is super, super rare. It is the Willy Wonka moment of a geologist's career.
There are only 2 other instances of similar discoveries being made worldwide. The bone, believed to be over 67 million years old, is now on display in the museum. Tom Rigotti, Fox News.
That's the greatest spin of a phrase I've heard. The Willy Wonka moment of a geologist's career. Speaking of heat, you mentioned geothermal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm going to use this tip every day for the next 2 months.
All right.
A math professor from the University of Cambridge shared a hack on TikTok to cool down a hot car fast. Now, we all know what that's like, crawling in a hot car, especially right now. Instead of blasting the AC and waiting forever for it to cool down, which we all try to do, try this. First, roll down your passenger side window, which I already do, by the way. Then open and close your driver's side door 4 or 5 times, which I do not do, like you're fanning the air. Now, so you open the passenger window, and then you open your door back and forth, and people will think you're an idiot. But, do that 5 times real fast to get a fan kind of thing going.
So you're pumping the
air out the passenger window.
Oh, okay.
So what you're doing is forcing the hot air inside your car out and pulling cooler air in.
Fascinating.
Apparently it's effective. One test showed it dropped the inside temperature by around 20 degrees in just seconds.
Wow.
This isn't a new idea, by the way. It's been circulating.
I'm going to try it.
It's been circulating the internet since before 2016 when ThrillList.com ran an experiment to find the fastest way to cool down a hot car in the summer. But I always get in, I always put both windows down, and then I pump up the air conditioner. But I never tried the thing with the door, creating pushing the air out.
Yeah.
That sounds like that might make some sense.
Coming up a little bit later this morning, I don't know exactly when. Is there a difference between a carousel and a merry-go-round? We're going to find out.
I didn't think that there was. I mean, I've used.
We're going to find out.
I've used both terms, but it is a Good Friday. That means Kevin Smith of kindnessworldwide.org will join us here to talk a little bit about what's coming up August 7th. Ground Zero, Wellspan Park, right here on Brooks Robinson Plaza is the place to be, and Kevin is going to tell you why. And take a look back at some of the week's events, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. And then at 7:35, we get into your wellness and mental health with Dr. Gracia ATN of York TMS, all here on the Gary Sutton Show. But first, news at the top of the hour. It is 7 o'clock.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back? Back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show, hour number 2 on a Friday morning, the final day of the week. And all this brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Barley Snyder Law Firm. You can check them out at barley.com. They feature a wide variety of practice areas, industry groups, and service teams geared toward one thing: helping you achieve your business goals, ladies and gentlemen. And you can check them out at barley.com right here in York. They're at 100 East Market Street. You can give them a call at 717-846-8888. They're open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And Barley Snyder, our presenting sponsor. But this hour, the 7 o'clock hour, presented by Kindness Worldwide, where every Friday is a Good Friday here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Not the Good Friday, but a Good Friday, because all this started on the Good Friday. I think it was 2 years ago, if memory serves. And Kevin Smith, of course, the guy that got this all started. And Kevin with us this morning here on the Gary Sutton Show on a Good Friday. Good morning, Kevin. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Gary. Happy Friday. Happy Good Friday.
Happy Friday to you. We look over this last week, and I always like to kind of hit a very quick review of the week with you because that's what we do on Fridays here on the Gary Sutton Show. But the stories that stood out this week, obviously the flooding. And you hear stories of kindness, heroism everywhere you look. We started the week talking about the guy who put his arm through a trailer window to save his mother and his wife after he'd already set his daughters down on mattresses, and they were safe. And cut an artery and said, "I won't be able to make it with you." We saw that. You talk about the ultimate kindness, but we've heard a lot of stories since then about people in this part of the country, and obviously our prayers have been with those people, and a lot of people going there to help. But thoughts this week about maybe a couple of stories like that kindness was really involved.
Well, kindness is selfless, not selfish.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot of selfless service at a time of need, a community that's been devastated with such loss, people, death, and so much that we can't even fathom. And it's often at times where things are at their worst that we see the best in people, that people step up and they do what they need to do for their fellow man, for their community. My hope is that it shouldn't take tragic events to bring out the best in others, that we just see the best in each other every day. But we certainly saw a community rally together. We saw, I think, a country in many cases, extending their love and their thoughts and prayers to a community, and people just going the extra mile, so to speak, to do something to help a community heal and to mend and rebuild, essentially, in more ways than one.
Let me ask you a question. You just kind of I was listening to what you said there. Are people at their core generally kind? Because I find that most people, and there are exceptions to this, especially when you're driving, but most people are kind. They hold a door for a person. Or hold a door open. If they're inside and they see you a couple steps away, they'll hold a door open for you. Now, I know those are really small things, but to me, really small things add up into big things. And it tells me at the small things that you probably in the big things are that way too. Have you found in your studies of all this that people are essentially kind, or are they essentially not kind? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think deep down, everyone has kindness in them. And sometimes it gets overshadowed by circumstances, life events, whatever it may be. But I think the proof of that is really when you have tragic events, instincts take over. You go into survival mode. The gentleman who put his hand through a window and severed an artery and died just to, protect his family. I mean, that I would argue is at its core is just relying on instinct. And of course, you naturally do what you do to protect your family, and of course, by extension, community. It goes beyond that, but it's really beyond that one isolated event. I think people just do what they need to do when they have no other choice, and in those moments, you see the good come out. And so it's there, but I think the potential is also there for it to come out on a more regular basis. It shouldn't take a tragedy to bring out the best in others.
It's amazing. I'm reminded of that, and I paraphrase a little bit, no greater love does a man have than to give his life up for someone else? And obviously kindness goes into that too, because without that, it doesn't seem to me you can do it. I imagine you run into roadblocks as you're going on this journey right now. You've had some great victories with people. You're getting through to some people, governors, people overseas, different people who have been famous around the country, former presidents you've talked to. You've had some great breakthroughs. But I know behind the scenes, there are people that don't get it, that just don't get where you're going. And they go like, geez, all right, Kevin, you're talking about something that we all kind of know, right? But maybe not. What have you found the frustration with some of that at all? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, very much so. Well, this has been the most meaningful journey of my life, but also in many respects the most frustrating.
Yeah.
I often call it the loneliest journey because early on I saw the potential of this movement that began from a simple act of kindness and how there was a very real opportunity to bring people and communities together at a time there's so much divisiveness in the world. Seeing how York responded during the inaugural Kindness Week, was proof to me that if something can happen like that here, it can happen anywhere. And so, but the frustrating part of this is, I've said early all along, I always talk about being seen, seeing the good in others. But the frustration for me is getting others to see what I see, because I know the potential. I've seen it. I know what's going on behind the scenes, so to speak. I know how this movement is broadening on a global stage. I know there's very powerful, influential people that are aware of it, that are supporting it. And yet, in many cases, they always use the analogy of a train. I mean, this train is moving. It's left the station. People that see the train want to get on it, but there's still far too many people that don't even know a train exists. And that's true on the global stage, but more are starting to see the train. But it's also particularly frustrating for me. This is my home. York County is my home.
Right.
There's still far too many people, even locally, that don't even know the train exists. And so I've just been trying to grit it out, grind it out, and just get people to see what I see and to see that train. And once they do, everyone, the call is all aboard, and we welcome everybody at any time. But more people are starting to see it, but not enough, in my opinion.
Well, I know, for example, with some of the newspapers and radio and TV stations and so forth, and trying to get to them, and they're saying, And I think what the problem is, they maybe know the train kind of exists, but they don't know where it's going at the end. They don't know where the destination is. So they say, I'm not getting on a train where I'm not sure where the destination is. I kind of saw where you were going from the very beginning. And I think the idea of changing an attitude, as you talked about changing your attitude when this happened to you, when you had someone do a kind act for you and you said, oh, wait a second, I can do a whole lot of things with kindness that I can control, and I'm not going to sit around and worry every day about all the things I can't control and waste my time. I'm doing the things I can control, which I think is the destination where we could all go to. And if we all go there with the idea we control goodness, we can control how we deal with people and so forth, that's really the destination. And to not push a story out on that, which is really good news to me, is almost irresponsible.
I agree in so many ways. I mean, I think that there's many of us that are caught up in old paradigms. And I think the media is really caught, as an institution in that, where this perception is that the stories that lead are the ones that are often bad stories. And
if it bleeds, it leads.
Absolutely. Yeah. And my argument is if it's good, it should.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I mean, the good is the norm. Kindness is the norm. It's not the exception. But a lot of what we see and read in the news creates the opposite perception. And perception matters because it affects behavior, affects our attitude, affects our mindset. But I would argue that the positive stories are just as newsworthy and powerful as the negative ones, but we often hear too few of them. They'll mix in a positive story at the end of a broadcast, and that's fine. But, I'd like to see at least more balanced out. But I know when I look at the journey of kindness worldwide and as impactful this movement is, there has not been a single story on this movement locally since we launched Kindness Worldwide in 2023, despite the fact, I was in Italy representing my home community, representing my state, representing my country on the global stage. Being over in Europe and at the invitation of members of royal dynasties at private castles and representing my home community. And you would think at some point someone might say, that might be something I might want to talk about. Yeah. But to this point, it's been very frustrating.
Well, with that in mind, August 7th is coming here at our stadium. And Pack the Park is something we are trying to do. If we're the only ones trying to do it, we're going to do it. But talk about Pack the Park for a lot of people maybe haven't heard it. And I want you, ladies and gentlemen, on August 7th, and Kevin's going to tell you how to get tickets, to come out here to Wellspan Park and pack the park for kindness. Okay, you're going to see a great baseball game that night too, but you're also going to have a chance to get together with your neighbors and hear about kindness, see a lot of stuff about kindness. Kevin, tell them about Pack the Park.
Yeah, well, August 7th is more than just a game. It's more than just a community event. It's actually a celebration and an opportunity for this community, our community, York, Pennsylvania, York County, to make a statement on the global stage, because our film director for such a time as this, the film is going to be here. That film is going to prominently showcase York as the epicenter of a global movement. And I think there's many who think that, we all recognize we need more kindness in the world. I think we all agree upon that. I can't imagine anyone who doesn't agree with that statement. Well, how do you?
I haven't heard anybody say, "Hey, there's too much kindness." Come on,
exactly.
Let's knock it off.
I'd love to get to that point, because that means this movement has hit its tipping point, where it's all kindness all the time. But how do you get more something we all recognize we need, which is kindness? Well, we encourage it, we recognize it, we reward it, and we celebrate it, and we show up for it.
Yeah.
And that is what August 7th is about. It's the first of its kind, kindness-themed sports event. We're going to infuse kindness throughout the fan experience. There's going to be messages of kindness from prominent members of the community between innings. There's going to be visible signs, mindful kindness. Players will be wearing caps, embrace kindness worldwide with the logo and on the field. And we're going to having hard hands images, and it's all going to be captured for the film. And so, but if you think about the impact, if we can literally pack a park on a Thursday night for a kindness-themed event, think about the statement that makes. Think about the message that conveys for York County, Pennsylvania. That will get attention. And that's a positive story that I think will be newsworthy in a great way for our community and beyond. And it's consistent with positioning York County as the epicenter of this movement, because we hope that this sports-themed kindness events will then set the stage to go to other sports franchises. But it all begins right here in York, in our home community.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to go to Kindness Worldwide, and right there, I guess at the top of the page, you can actually get your tickets, right, Kevin?
You bet. We have a countdown clock. There's a link. And by the way, a percentage of every purchase price through that link on the website will go to a kindness prize. Give Local York is partnering with us in this event, and that's going to benefit and support kindness throughout our nonprofit ecosystem in York County.
So kindnessworldwide.org, that's your epicenter right now to go get your tickets. It's August 7th. Write it down right now. That is a Thursday night. Excuse me. You can join Kevin. I'm going to be out here that night. I don't know if I'll have a chance to say something, but I'll be glad to say something about kindness. But there's going to be a lot of different things going on. You want to be part of a very special event that evening right here on August 7th, Thursday night. Get ready for it. It's coming up fast right now. So get your tickets today. Go on there at kindnessworldwide.org and get your tickets and be out here at Wellspan Park that night and be part of Pack the Park. We're looking to put as many people in here. We want the fire inspector to be upset. That's kind of what we want to do. Now, I want you to stick around. When we come back, I told Mark this morning, this is the greatest story of the week. I don't know if you heard it. The greatest story of the week. We're going to have a little fun with you. And we're going to ask you to tell us how, through the lens of kindness, you would solve this story. When we come back, Kevin Smith, Kindness Worldwide. Don't forget, Pack the Park, August 7th. I'm going to be telling you about it a lot between now and then. Get your tickets. Go to kindnessworldwide.org. Get those tickets right now and get ready for Pack the Park. It's going to be a fun night. I'm looking forward to seeing you out here. Kevin's going to be out here, and the documentary is going to be going on. It's a whole lot of great things that are going to be happening that night. Just a fun night, and all built around the concept of kindness. We're going to talk more about what Kevin can do to help us through a tough situation. The story of the week. He's going to take it on when we come back here on the Gary Sutton Show. It is 7:18.
Fox Sports Update.
And now he doesn't have to worry about it. There's a base hit for Chisholm to break up the no-hitter.
Seattle Mariners all-star pitcher Brian Wu took a no-hitter into the 8th inning with a 5-0 lead at Yankee Stadium before New York broke through and kept going.
That one's drilled deep to right center field. On the run, Rodriguez on the track. Turning, looking, see ya! A pinch hit. 2-run home run for Stanton. Line drive, it's a base hit to right field. That's going to tie the game. Big 2-run single by Austin Wells. Center field, tagging Volpe. The catch is made. Here comes Volpe. Here's the throw. Here's the play. He's safe. Yankees win. A sac fly by Judge. Yankees win 6-5. From no hit to no way. They come all the way back to win it and sweep Seattle.
On the Yes Network, the Yankees won their 4th in a row and moved within 2 games of the AL East leading Blue Jays. The Red Sox ran their win streak to 7 games, beat the Rays 4-3. Pete Crow Armstrong hit 2 home runs for the Cubs and an 8-1 win over the Twins. The Reds shut out the Marlins 6-0. The Cardinals crushed the Nationals 8-1. Orioles swept a doubleheader against the Mets. In 11 innings, the Athletics beat the Braves 5-4. Rangers got 4 hits from Marcus Semien in an 11-4 win over the Angels. Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado hit home runs for the Padres, who beat the Diamondbacks 4-3. The White Sox and Guardians were postponed by rain. 27-year-old Taylor Fritz hopes to become the first American man since Andy Roddick in 2009 to make it to the Wimbledon final. Fritz today plays 2-time defending Wimbledon champion Carlos Alcaraz in the semifinals at the All England Club. Semifinals scheduled to begin 8:30 a.m. Eastern. The winner of this match will move into Sunday's final against the winner of today's second semifinal between 7-time champ Novak Djokovic and world number 1 ranked Jannik Sinner. It's Game On with the Fox Sports app, available wherever you download apps. I'm Jared Max.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
Hey, we've all been in hot weather lately and humidity is everywhere, but we want to keep ourselves cool, but we also want to keep our engines cool. And GM Balvo Mitsubishi wants me to remind you that summer heat can put serious stress on your engine. Make sure your coolant levels are topped off and your radiator is working properly. Overheating is one of the most common causes of summer breakdowns. Don't let it happen to you. But one of the places it can be hot right now are some of the great deals that they have at GM Balvo Mitsubishi. Yep, they have got some wonderful deals right now. You can finance the 2025 Outlander at 0% APR for 60 months. That's exactly right. Enjoy rates as low as 2.99% APR for 48 months, or the 2025 Eclipse Cross, or save $2,500 on the Mirage Black Edition. Fun, efficient, and ladies and gentlemen, very affordable. Now, there's no pressure, no gimmicks when you deal with GM Balvo Mitsubishi. Just real value on vehicles that you're going to love, like I do, from my Outlander, the 2024 that I bought back in February. New ownership, same hustle though. Drive a Mitsubishi, experiencing the GM Balvo difference, and regret nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what, you'll never regret going down to GM Balvo because they have been around for a long time. They're the gold standard in value, gold standard in service, gold standard in getting a car for you and making you happy. They're right there at 1301 Roosevelt Avenue in New York. GM Balvo Mitsubishi. Give them a call today at 717-827-6676. Tell them Gary Sutton sent you. Service department, same thing, 717-827-6676. Or go to gmbalvomitsubishi.com right now. WOYK News Time 725 with Kevin Smith from Kindness Worldwide. Kevin, we got hit with this story this morning. A guy apparently, and this guy in France, a guy in France is going on vacation with his wife and his daughter. He's 62, his wife's 60, his daughter's 22. All right? Apparently he got started late. Anyway, so this guy in France drives down the road with his wife. They're heading to Morocco from Paris. All right? So they take off, and he stops to get gas. All right? He stops to get gas. He leaves the gas station after filling up with the gas. 200 miles later, actually 186 to be exact, he realizes that he forgot his wife, left her at the gas station. All right, now there's some questions here, and he calls.
I have lots of questions.
And he calls the police at 8:30 a.m. to report it. Didn't notice it for 186 miles. His daughter's asleep in the back seat, apparently the entire time. And he calls the police, can't remember the gas station, can't remember the town. Starts sounding suspicious here. His wife who had her cell phone, that's they tracked her to find out where she was at, is sitting there for 4 hours waiting for her husband to come back and get her. Now, we don't know if she was in the back seat and she snuck out and he didn't know it while he was at the gas station, to get a Coke or whatever, or if she was in the front seat. We have some problems here. I mean, if you noticed there was someone in your front seat, if your wife Ann was in the front seat and you noticed after 200 miles, geez, Ann's not here anymore. What we do? So here's the most amazing part of it, and this is why I'm talking to you, because of kindness here. He couldn't remember which gas station. He couldn't remember the town. They eventually find her through tracking her cell phone. No word on why she didn't call him. No word on why he didn't call her. Cops thought there was a chance he left her there on purpose, which might cross your mind, all right, but decided it was an honest mistake, so he's not in any legal trouble, just trouble with his wife. He swings back, picks her up, and here's the most amazing part of the story. Here's where kindness comes in. And they continued on with their vacation. Your thoughts through the lens of kindness here in the final 2 minutes this morning.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of thoughts that come to mind. It's almost that story's almost too good to be true or too sad to be true. It's all wrapped up in one. I mean, you can't help but laugh and wonder. Yep. I have questions. Are they still married? I guess they are. I mean, they seem like they live happily ever after.
Yeah. How'd you like to be the 22-year-old daughter in the rest of that trip? Mom, Dad, please stop arguing.
Well, there were a lot of balls dropped. There's a lot of balls in the air, but a lot of balls were dropped in that story in so many ways. And 200 miles, I think it was, you
186,
said? 186, yeah. Well, that takes going the extra mile to leave your wife behind to a whole new level. Look, I've left a lot of things behind in my life. Of course, the most memorable is my wallet on Good Friday morning.
Right. That's why I was mentioning this to you.
Yeah, there were times I wish I might have forgotten to do my wife's honey-do list that day. But leaving your wife behind, it's interesting. I did drive by someone I was supposed to pick up on the way to work years ago.
Okay.
They were meeting me on the road, and I was into what I call Smittyville. My nickname's Smitty, and sometimes I get carried away in my thoughts.
In that land, yep.
And I literally drove right by, and I continued on for 20 minutes and arrived at work. And half hour later, he comes up and says, "Kevin, you forgot me." And I guess he was standing right there, and I drive right by.
That's in the same church.
It's similar, but it wasn't 200 miles. But once he walked in, I realized, oh my gosh, and so that's a story I often laugh about looking back. But that's probably the closest thing for me to that story. But to leave your wife behind takes it to a whole other level.
Now, if they would have used the Kevin Smith model, where the girl returned your wallet, somebody would have returned his wife to him using her phone and tracking him. I'm just saying.
And maybe he would have started a global movement. You never know.
There it is, which is what you're trying to do right now. Yeah, his global movement right now, he's starting to figure out is how to get out of trouble here after this vacation is over. I want to see the follow-up story. Wife files for divorce or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But again, August 7th, Pack the Park. Don't forget, Kindness Worldwide. Go there right now. Get your tickets. Don't waste another day. Get them now. Be ready to go. And join us down here and Pack the Park that night for Kindness. What better thing can you pack the park for, right? See a great baseball game, see Kindness. This hour being brought to you by Kindness Worldwide. Am I right on that? Kindness Worldwide.
KindnessWorldwide.org.
I'm losing my head for a second, but get your tickets today. I'm all excited about this, so that's why. And don't forget, you can see Kevin Smith out here that night. All kinds of great things will be going on August 7th. Kevin, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Absolutely. And regardless of the final score on August 7th, everyone leaves a winner because with kindness, everybody wins.
There you go. And that's the way it works all the time. Kevin Smith here on the Gary Sutton Show. When we come back, we check into your mental wellness, yes, with Dr. Gracia ATN of York TMS, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it's 7:30. sounds like a national anthem, doesn't it?
It does.
Everybody, come on. Ready? Huh? Now the chorus. Oh, no, I guess it's not. I jumped ahead. She does it twice. We got to hear this. Now,
what does RS2 stand?
I don't know. Something you. Something you. Is it I love you?
You know, I'm looking here.
Here we go. Here we go. Warm it up. The entire world in the chorus. Yeah. Now, when I hear this song, which I happen to like,
this RS2 is It's You.
It's You.
And a song recorded by Mocedades. It represented Spain in the Eurovision Song Contest in 1973 held in Luxembourg.
It's You. Now, where did you hear this song before, ladies and gentlemen? What movie, as you're sitting back thinking, and if you have a certain sick disposition like I am, Tommy Boy. At the end of the movie, Chris Farley and Richard Spade are driving on the road coming back to Ohio with all these orders that they got, and they keep on going back and forth on lame songs on the radio, and they get this song comes up. And they go, man, totally lame. Yeah, it's totally lame. And then they start switch away. They come back. They're singing to the top of their lungs, Eris 2, the whole way back. I mean, it's unbelievable. Of all the songs you could have picked out, it was this one. Anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. And it is you. I mean, I love songs that make people feel good. I know probably Dr. Grassi at ATN does too. And he is a former orthopedic surgeon here in New York. In fact, he did both my knees. I often brag about that because I'm still walking because of him. But he got out of that a couple years ago and retired. And now he is the head of York TMS right here in New York at 1806 North George Street right here in New York, just across Route 30. And he's here with us this morning. Good morning, Dr. ATN. How are you?
Good morning, Gary. Good morning. It's such a pleasure to be with you.
It's an honor to be with you, and we just played that Eris 2 song, which is it's a nice song, and it's talking about it is you, and you've done that your whole life, right? You've pointed to other people and said it's you. I'm going to take care of you, and that's kind of what you've been doing, right?
Hey, in my operating room, I don't do anything without music, so I enjoyed songs myself.
Did you have any? I think I asked you this one time before, but I'll ask you again. Did you have a certain type of music that you liked that put you in a certain mood when you were doing operations or not?
Not really, honestly, because I like music so much that I can go from opera to country and still enjoy it, and you'll see the smile in my face.
You don't remember what you were listening to when you did my knees, do you?
That's a big challenge there.
It wasn't like disco or anything like that. Mental wellness. We talk about the physical wellness a lot. And everybody says, hey, I want to take care of myself. I want to, I'm going to be in good shape. I'm going to, take care of the knees, take care of the body. But so many times it seems to me like we don't take care of our mental wellness as much until it is kind of too late. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, you actually touch a very important point. I mean, we all know that we are not only that physical body. I mean, do we describe that so often? From little kids all the way to grown adults, we know that we are a body, soul, and spirit. So
right.
You cannot ignore 2 parts of yourself and expect that is healthy. And unfortunately, for many of us, and I say us, we tend to focus so much more on the physical aspect, and that we forget our emotional aspect and our spiritual life, and which is really a big mistake. I agree with you. Mental wellness, mental health is a big part of who we are, and we cannot neglect that.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you about this morning and to focus on a little bit was this idea of adolescent depression. We see a lot of pressures on kids now, a lot of things happening around kids with social media and all the various things that come at us every day. And for kids who are not adults yet, obviously, handling that is really tough sometimes. And we see a lot of adolescent depression around the country. But there's a new possibility now to help to kind of treat that. I saw 1 of 5 U.S. adolescents experience at least one major depressive episode. So what are we doing right now? What are you doing right now for adolescent depression to help them?
The best thing for adolescent depression is early intervention. And early intervention, and I have to point that out. Unfortunately, you've heard that many times.
Right.
That starts at home. It's a recognition that our kids are not little adults. No, they're not little adults. They are kids in the sense that their development is different than our development. Their experience has been different than our experiences, and so we have to make sure that we start looking at them very early and start guiding them and giving them what I would describe as coping mechanisms to deal with stress, to deal with anxiety, to deal with those triggers that you and I have gone through and I've learned from, and do not let them slide into that slippery slope. And that's really the best way to start with teenagers.
Is it still hard for people to come to grips when they hear the word depression? Because they think of depression, they think of like going into a mental institution, that kind of stuff. And people, there was a stigma attached to that for a long time. Is that still there, or have we gotten to the point where we've eliminated that, or we're close to eliminating that? What's your thought on that, Dr. Etienne?
No, we are still stuck into it. Again, this is a really good point that you actually raised. Many of us, and I keep saying us because I know that I'm part of it too. Many of us have failed to really identify those issues simply because we don't know. Because, like you said, we think of, when we look at a family, we think that, okay, there's depression because their kid has been, at a hospital or something like that. No, sometimes it's just a persistent sadness. That can manifest itself as a persistent sadness. Or sometimes, honestly, nothing more. It may simply be a loss of interest. And this is actually a very important point, because a loss of interest does not mean that you're not doing what you're still doing. I mean, the kid is still going to school and probably still getting good grades, but that has no interest in the work study.
Right.
So that may be another trigger, and it may be other symptoms that can actually interfere with their daily life, but it does not really have to be that far. It can simply be, I don't go out with my friends anymore. I'm just sitting. It's so much easier to sit down in my room and watching TV or playing on a video game and never get involved in community health or anything like that. So these are the kinds of signs that we have to be aware of, to pay attention to, so that we can intervene very early.
And of course, when we see our children doing that kind of thing, we see them losing some interest, losing some happiness there. That is a problem. So let's graduate here to what you are doing right now, because you have partnered up with maybe the most advanced, cutting-edge mental health treatments on the market, which is the NeuroStar Advanced Transcranial Magnetic Stimulation, thus TMS, York TMS. You're located right here at 1806 North George Street in York. And this is a machine that helps to kind of wake up the brain from getting down there where it kind of goes to sleep in the areas of, these kind of things. Talk a little bit about that, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, TMS, just like you said, is transcranial magnetic stimulation. That's what those 3 letters stands for. And what it means is just using very, very, very low magnetic pulses to stimulate or awaken the brain cells so that they can function again. So studies have shown that when patients are in a state of depression, for whatever the trigger is, whatever the reason is, whatever the cause has been, the bottom line is that the brain cells would be inactivated. They are literally dormant. And by using small magnetic pulses, not electricity, magnetic pulses, which is very safe, you can awaken those cells and reconnect, creating connections between them, and eventually strengthen those connections to get patients out of their state of depression. Again, clinical studies have shown that this is very safe, very well tolerated by patients with a very high success rate of 83% and a 62% remission rate. And the most exciting thing for me about those studies is that they have been conducted in patients who have failed multiple medications already. So which means that these are the hardest patients to deal with at the end.
The other thing, too, is you don't have to be referred by a doctor. You can come there. And one of the things I know you encourage is come there and sit down and talk with you about it and talk with some of the people there about it. And you'll see you're not putting your head in a tube or there's not anything painful at all. You're just sitting there, basically relaxed for like 19 minutes. There are 36 treatment sessions to completion. You resume normal activities immediately after the treatment. It really does have some great possibilities for people. And you can treat the depression right at the source and maybe get back up and running here in a way that is going to be a happy end for you. Final thoughts on this morning, Dr. Etienne?
Well, yeah, you just brought a good point. There's absolutely no downtime with TMS treatment. There's no negative effect on your cognitive abilities. So you just come in and get your treatment and continue to do your day just like any other day. I can proudly say that our team at York TMS Clinic is ready to really help you through and give you I would probably say the best understanding possible on TMS. So if you are interested, if you know someone who's interested, or if you're remotely interested in mental health, just stop by. We are so excited that we are ready to transfer the knowledge to anyone who's willing to see it. The staff is there. We are there to educate people and creating awareness. It is a major burden in our society, and I feel that I find a purpose to really keep pushing. And you and I, like I said, we've been on a crusade, and we're going to continue to push until we really make it a reality, that people know that there are options out there. You are not alone, and there are options if you are dealing with depression. Do not suffer in silence.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you know someone and maybe they're not quite ready to go in yet, stop by, get the information. Dr. Etienne, the people there are knowledgeable. They're going to be able to tell you all about it. You don't have any pressure. They have a brochure there you can take a look at. Neurostar.com is a place you can check. Neuro, I'll spit it out, star.com. But you can give them a call today, make an appointment, 717-699-7361. That's 717-699-7361. You know, I trusted Dr. Etienne years ago when it came to my knees. I trust Dr. Etienne when it comes to this because he knows what he's talking about. The research that's being done on this is great. You don't have to be referred by a doctor. You go in there yourself. And I'll tell you what, it is non-threatening. I've talked to a person while they're having the procedure. They're going through that for the 19 minutes, and we just have a conversation. So I've had a chance to be in the room. It's really, really a good thing. 1806 North George Street, right here in York. I would not talk about it if I didn't believe in it, and if I didn't believe in Dr. Etienne and the people and all the things they're doing there. They accept most insurances. You can check that out, too, with your insurance company. But Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, United Healthcare, all of them are the kind of insurances that will accept what you're doing there with the York TMS Clinic. Dr. Etienne, so appreciate what you're doing to help people with mental health right now. Again, I hope people will call 717-699-7361. You can go to info@yorktmsclinic.com. Yes, Dr. Etienne's correct. We are on a mission here to get people aware of this because it's yet another way to help to get after depression here, which is such a big thing in today's society. Dr. Etienne, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Really good information and really appreciate what you're doing, and it's great to be a partner with you in this move.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Thank you, and have a great weekend. Dr. Gracia Etienne, York TMS Clinic. Check them out today, 1806 North George Street, right here in York, just across Route 30 as you come in on George Street from the Manchester side, so to speak. 717-699-7361. Please tell them Gary Sutton proudly and confidently sent you. WOYK News Time, 7:49. What do we have coming back, Mark?
Is there a difference between a carousel and a merry-go-round?
Oh, I didn't think there was, but I'm waiting to find out. I'm waiting to hear the answer when we come back here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK at 7:49. Welcome back. Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK, the main street of York, and glad to be with you here on a Friday morning where it is 7:53. Mark, you've got a question that needs to be answered here this morning about carousels and merry-go-rounds, and if there is actually any difference. A waiting world is breathless right now.
Yeah, I didn't really. This has nothing to do with me. I'm just the messenger. I actually didn't care, but apparently some people did.
Fox Facts.
They spin, they whirl, they play that same catchy music. But is there a difference between a carousel and a merry-go-round? Turns out, maybe. In the U.S., the two words are mostly interchangeable, but traditionally, a carousel refers to the kind you ride at an amusement park with carved horses, music, and motors. A merry-go-round can mean that too, but it's also the name for a simpler version found on school playgrounds. That's the one usually made of metal, powered by kids pushing it, and doesn't have any horses or music. Another twist, in Europe, most carousels spin clockwise, but in America, they go counterclockwise because carousel horses were modeled after jousting horses, and riders traditionally mounted from the left side. Either way, hang on tight. Matt Murphy, Fox News.
So there you go. Speaking of mounting, we were talking about the couple this morning where the guy forgot his wife, didn't notice for 186 miles, and couldn't remember what gas station he left her at or what town. Here's one that probably wishes they would have forgotten somebody. This is a couple in West Virginia is behind bars today after they both got DUIs while driving a stolen RV and having sex behind the wheel.
While they were driving?
Yeah. That happened last Wednesday in Bluefield, West Virginia, near the Virginia border. A cop saw 48-year-old Matthew McDonald behind the wheel and 35-year-old Shannon Bryant straddling him. Both were apparently naked. Now, he pulled them over a half mile down the road, and Shannon was behind the wheel now, had not been before. So some gymnastics were involved here. Someone driving by hollered that they saw them switch seats. They both admitted they were...
Hey, officer, I saw him switch seats.
Yeah. They both admitted that they were getting it on when the cops spotted them. Matthew also admitted he was the original driver and that he knew Shannon wasn't sober. Cops found weed, drug paraphernalia, and a bag filled with a white powdery substance. Then they ran the plates and saw that the RV was stolen.
There you go.
Is there anything else you could check off here that they screwed up?
I think in West Virginia, that's known as the Grand Slam.
Going out for a Sunday drive. Anyway, they both got busted for the drugs, the RV, and indecent exposure. She also failed a sobriety test and got a DUI, and so did he for allowing an impaired person to drive.
Yeah, I mean...
It's apparently a law in West Virginia.
Hey, the cop saw us. He's turning around. He's coming at... Here, you're drunk. You get behind the wheel.
Yeah, this is West Virginia common sense. Anyway, he also had several warrants out for his arrest. So, in other words, he was a regular West Virginian.
That's probably why.
And they tacked on a charge for reckless driving since he was the one behind the wheel when the hanky-panky was happening. So, maybe we, not only in West Virginia, usually in Florida you'd find this, but West Virginia, this is like a normal day.
I want to ask whether it was a manual transmission or not. Was it a stick shift?
Well, to some degree.
And
he shifted after. Well, that's a whole nother area.
Moving along.
Yeah.
Hey, big doings.
Big day for couples, by the way, here on the show.
Yeah, really. Big news at movie theaters this weekend.
All right.
Crypto.
James Gunn's Superman hits theaters. The film stars David Cornsweet as the Man of Steel, a.k.a. Clark Kent, the Daily Planet reporter. In Gunn's version of the film, which has drawn some criticism as being woke because of Gunn's use of Superman's alien status as an immigration allegory, Superman tries to reconcile his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing as Kent from Smallville, Kansas, all while fighting off global enemies like Lex Luthor and falling in love with fellow reporter Lois Lane, played by the marvelous Mrs. Maisels, Rachel Brosnahan. The film also marks the first live-action appearance of Krypto, the Superdog. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
Yes, the dog.
Yeah. You don't need to work It's Superman. You don't need to work the whole immigrant thing. We'd like to take a break from that if we go to this stuff and have a little bit of, just a couple minutes away and have some entertainment, right? Come on.
I would say allegory.
Allegory. Okay, I'm not sure what you're looking for there.
Well, it's a metaphor.
Yeah, I got it. But
anyway,
I'm just saying. Give us a moment.
Here's some health news.
Yeah.
It's not a joke or a myth. Experts say old people smell is a real thing. It's because normal hygiene practices often fail to address age-related body odor. Dr. Dan Wesson, professor at the University of Florida College of Medicine, tells Fox News Digital, I think we all know this smell. He says a key source of the smell is a compound which emerges from the process of fats in skin cells breaking down due to imbalances in the body. And this is unique to aging skin. The compound is not easily washed off with regular hygiene practices, which is why managing this body odor requires more complex solutions. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
This hour has been brought to you by kindnessworldwide.org. Don't forget about Pack the Park, August 7th here. Kevin Smith, founder of kindnessworldwide.org, is helping to sponsor that. Lots of chances that night to get out here and experience kindness. When we come back, Jim McClure, York County historian, joins us. Why do so many York Countyans have extended families in the South? We'll find out why, and also about the York Fair. It's 8 o'clock.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back again?
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to the 8 o'clock hour of the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. It is 8:05. It's the 11th of July, 2025. It is 73 degrees out here on Brooks Robinson Plaza. There's the sun coming up now. Looks like it's going to be a pretty nice day. There's always possibly those pop-up showers around, but looks like a pretty nice day. This hour brought to you, or this whole show actually brought to you by Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law. You can find them at barley.com. And, you know, at Barley Snyder, one of the things that's interesting I found out, they find it important to keep their clients informed of relevant industry information, and that includes changes in laws and regulations that may directly affect their organizations in the area that they are dealing with. They regularly issue client updates in the form of alerts, articles, newsletters, social media posts, training opportunities, educational seminars. I mean, they really go out of their way to make sure that you're well informed as a client of Barley Snyder. They also have the ability to provide many of these programs in Spanish for employers with large Spanish-speaking employee populations. You can sign up to receive the information at barley.com or view all updates at barley.com/our-insights. Barley.com is a unique law firm that has so many different areas. They have over 130 plus lawyers, and they are ready to help you right now in an area that you might be interested. Find out today what they can do for you right here in York. You can give them a call at 717-846-8888. They're located at 100 East Market Street right here in York. Beautiful old building right there across from the Yorktown Hotel. They're open 9 to 5 daily. Barley Snyder Law Firm. Check them out at barley.com. And this specific hour of the Gary Sutton Show brought to you by Regents Glen Country Club. That's exactly right. I've been a member out there since 2001, and I got to tell you, when it comes to leisure living, when it comes to having an affordable country club type atmosphere, 5 minutes where I'm sitting right here at Wellspan Park, Regents Glen Country Club offers it with an Arthur Hills golf course, well-maintained, surrounded by 100-year-old white oak trees. Jim McClure would love that. And sitting alongside the beautiful Cadorus Creek, you have a relaxing day on the golf course designed by Arthur Hills, one of the world-renowned designers, or you could stop by the pool. Beautiful pool down there, a lot of pool memberships, right at the back of a beautiful little restaurant called the Fairway Table. You can dine by the pool, you can dine at the table. They've got things going on all the time. They've got bocce courts, pickleball courts, tennis courts. They've got fun activities all the time in a very affordable kind of situation. Why don't you give a call today to Lacey at 717-747-1919. Regents Glen Country Club, 1000 Golf Club Road in York, just off Indian Rock Dam Road, across from Indian Rock Dam School is the main entrance to the country club. And we'll be talking more about that in this hour. But I wanted to get to Jim McClure, who joins us this morning. He is the author of Never to Be Forgotten, a year-by-year look at York County's past. And he's with us every Friday to talk with us here on the Gary Sutton Show. Good morning, Jim. How are you?
Doing really well, Gary. Thank you.
I had to do all that in one breath, so I'm kind of tired out there. But great to have you in this morning. Wanted to talk to you about something you brought up to me in an email. Why so many Yorkers seem to have a southern bent to them. And it has to do with a road, which I think is called the Great Wagon Road, also by some called the Philadelphia Great Wagon Road. But you've got, there's a new book out about its importance, and I wanted you to talk a little bit about that this morning, if you would.
Yes, if many of our ancestors would have gotten off their ships in Philadelphia or Germantown, and then they had a decision what to do. Sometimes they would settle around, the Philadelphia area, but that was becoming populated in the 1700s, so they kept moving west. And then they heard stories about how there was a lot of land in the south, so they would just kept moving further and further west on what is today Route 30. It was then known as Great Wagon Road. They kept moving west, and sometimes they would settle in Lancaster, New York, and stay for a couple years, and then they would move on. And the Great Wagon Road was an artery to the west and the south. You would go from Lancaster to York, one branch took you through Spring Grove and Hanover and Harper's Ferry into the Shenandoah Valley. And another route took you to through Gettysburg and over to Chambersburg and down the Cumberland Valley and the Shenandoah Valley that way. So many people in the South today are related to folks, to our families here in the North, and vice versa because of that. So that's one of the reasons why we have the Southern Band. Other reasons as well. We have this long 40-mile connection with the South and with the Mason-Dixon line. So all kinds of contacts with the South here in York County.
I understand that the original Great Wagon Road followed what was a Native American path. I think it was called the Warriors Path. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, it was a Monocacy Road, and it's really hard to tell the different routes, but right. I use the word loosely, and so the Monocacy Trail, the Monocacy Road, was a connection between the Susquehanna and the Monocacy Creek or the Potomac, and it basically followed that route that I described down through York, Spring Grove, down to Frederick, and where it would connect with the Potomac, and so on. So, yeah, this road has had many uses. Today, in York County, we think of it as Route 30, we think of it as Route 462, and we think of it as Market Street in New York.
Wow.
And so a lot of use over the years.
Yeah, a lot of use. And, of course, later on, as some of these paths extended, I guess Interstate 81, Interstate 85 have largely followed the original route of the Great Wagon Road, right?
Yeah, the route that we may be familiar with in the South, it would be Route 11.
Yeah.
And the old Route 11, which does come through this area as well. So the idea was to get what is today Route 11 and head south. And you could go as far as south as Augusta, Georgia, or if you decided you wanted to go to Kentucky, you could go through the Cumberland, Tennessee and Kentucky, go through the Cumberland Gap. And, we think of a good person to think of in this context is Daniel Boone, who was born, as we know, in the Reading area, and then he went on the Great Wagon Road down to the south, ended up in Virginia, Roanoke, and then he got to Kentucky and then Ohio. That's the way he went down there. That's the way he ended up in Kentucky. We think of the Kentucky Long Rifle and so on. Well, we made Kentucky Long Rifles in Pennsylvania before Kentucky was even around. So. Then I would just point out that one of the things about the Great Wagon Road is you would then have merchants and gunsmiths and blacksmiths and wagon makers along the road, and that later would morph into the car makers. In New York, we made cars in the early 1900s. In Hanover, they made cars as well.
You wrote a piece 2 days ago in the paper, which was interesting, about James Dodson's just published book about the Great Wagon Road, and it explored York County's segment of this rutted pathway for settlers. I'm reading from your article, heading south and west in the 1700s. But you talk about the author here, James Dodson. It begins with his impressions after visiting the York Daily Record-sponsored York History Night at Dream Rights Center for Community Arts. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, he spent a whole chapter on York County in his Simon & Schuster book. He came up here, and I don't know if it was intentional, but or whether he timed it for. We had what was called History Night at the time. It's now called York County History Storytellers. It's still going on, and so he came and sat through that. And the topic happened to be Weird York. I mean, we're in York County. We have our idiosyncrasies, and we talked about a lot of those. It was a fun night that way, and he wrote about that night and many other things. He wrote about our American Revolution past, our Civil War past, and he ended up, interestingly, his last stop here in York County was right outside your door there, Gary, at Brooks Robinson Plaza.
Wow!
Where he met Brooks Robinson in his lifetime, but he really loved Brooks Robinson as a kid, and so he grew up a Brooks Robinson fan. So before he headed out to Gettysburg, he stopped by Brooks Robinson Plaza and saw the wonderful statue there of Brooks, and headed on his way. And he made note in there that he called Brooks the adopted son of the Great Wagon Road. Wow. Because Brooks made his major league debut, as we've talked about before, over at Memorial Stadium in 1955, 70 years ago, Gary.
That's amazing when you think back to that. And I'm sitting here looking at the statue right now out my window. By the way, the only statue of Brooks Robinson, other than the one that's down at Camden Yards now, out there in Legends Park in the outfield and right field, that's the only statue of Brooks Robinson anywhere, and it sits right here at Brooks Robinson Plaza. I wanted to also touch base with you this morning, Jim, on the York Fair coming up. And we did a little thing this week. You wrote a piece on that also, but we did a little thing this week on that, talking about how many people like the York Fair where it is right now in the summer, in July. It starts next week. Or do they want to go back to the old harvest time back in the beginning of September? And a lot of people wanted to go back to the harvest time, and yet there are people that still like it now because, the kids are still out of school, families can go easier and all that kind of stuff. Talk a little bit about the start of the York Fair and why it is continually number one here in the state of Pennsylvania in terms of the people that it brings in. I think 455,899 in 2024, which was up by like 60,000 from the previous year, and it's ahead of all the other state fairs here in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, the York Fair originally was twice a year, and it's gone. It was in November or October at one time. Then it settled into September, which is when most of us really remember it. About 7 years ago, the Agricultural Society Board decided, because of declining attendance, that they needed to do something. And so they moved, starting in the COVID year, 2020, they had a plan to move to July that year, but the fair was canceled. So the next year, 2021, they started in July. And from the outset, it drew controversy because it's so hot. On the other hand, it seemed like they had to do something. They had to make a change. There's more bands available then in the summer than there are in the fall. In the fall, the bands tend to want to take off. They've been at it all summer. So, and also, there was weather patterns that tended to happen in September where rain would hang around a long time. There's a lot of things that went into it, so they tried it, and really there's been a decline in the 4 years before 2021 and after 2021. So I think this year is kind of a key time to see if they can continue to increase it. To your point, it increased by 14% year over year to 2024. So will they be able to do that again? And so I think this is an important year. They're looking at it. It's on the table that they can move it back. Yeah, it might take a couple of years to do that, but it's on the table.
Yeah, I know they're constantly thinking about it and looking at it, and of course it's part of the fabric. And of course we went from the York Interstate Fair to the York State Fair now, so we have that new name with it here the last few years, and it's going to be interesting. I know you and I'll be talking more about that in coming weeks with the York Fair and some of the other stories that you're digging out. Really appreciate it, Jim. I mean, you're always all over it, and the Wagon Road thing is just fascinating to me, and I thought. Having that artery pulling us together with the South was really a great piece this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. And I hope people will pick up your book, Never to Be Forgotten, a year-by-year look at York County's past. You can find it down at Brown's Orchards, right there down below Loganville. You can find it at the York County History Center, which, by the way, if you've not been there, right at the corner of Pershing Avenue and Philadelphia Avenue, you need to get over there. It's a great place to take your kids during the summer. Great place to take yourself during the summer or any time for that matter. And, Jim, where are you going to be appearing next? I know you've been all over the place right now talking with people and groups. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, tomorrow I'll be at Civil War Day. Scott Mingus and I are going to be talking about the Civil War in York County starting at 12:30. Then I'm part of the Hometown History team with Dominique Marie Miller and Jamie Rappel. That will go on at 11. I'm part of that team. They're going to be talking about the Battle of Hanover. Then I have two tours aboard the Chief Uncas. So if you want to go out on the Susquehanna and learn about American Revolutionary history and the connection with the river, I'm out on the Chief Uncas on July 24th and 31st.
The Chief Uncas is a great boat to get out on, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Very nice on the inside, great for storytelling, and who could you better hear a story from than Jim McClure? Jim, always appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I look forward to next Friday with you with eagerness, okay?
Yes. Have a good weekend.
Have a great weekend. Take care. Jim McClure right here on the Gary Sutton Show. Don't forget to pick up the book, Never to Be Forgotten. We take a break. We come back with more here on the Gary Sutton Show. Mark, what's around the corner?
Well, it happened again last night.
Oh, no.
It happened the other night, and now it's happened twice in a row.
Oh, and also some news you just might have missed. We'll have all that straight ahead for you on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it's 8:19.
And the pitch. Swinging a ground ball toward the middle. It's through. It's into center field. 1 run scores. Here comes Miller, and the Revs lead 7-5 here in the 10th.
Unbelievable comeback again by the Revs. 2 straight nights against the High Point Rockers. The Revs winning, coming from behind 5-2. And they scored 3 in the 8th to tie it up. Eventually got to the 10th. They scored 3 in the 10th. And I think the Rockers scored 1 in the 10th. And the Revs win it 8-6. They are tied for first place with just about everybody else in their division, except for Long Island, who's in last place at 1-2. They only played 3 games here in the second half, but the Revs are 2-1, and they're coming back home tonight in a little bit of glory with 2 come-from-behind wins over the first-half champions from the South Division, the High Point Rockers. And the Revs will be here tonight. Come on out to the stadium, YorkRevolution.com. You can get your tickets right now or stop by the ticket office here today, pick them up and get some preferred seats. You can listen to the game tonight. Daryl and I will be on. I'll be on all 3 games with Daryl this weekend. That'll start at 6:15 or so, or about 6:10 actually or so. And then 6:30 is first pitch tonight as the Revs come on home after winning on the road in a really good test to start the second half against the first-place team. The other team that has the very best record in the league with them, the High Point Rockers.
So today is National Motorcycle Day.
Yes.
It is National Swimming Pool Day.
It is.
It is World Population Day, which is right around 8 billion.
That couple in West Virginia was trying to help that along.
Yeah, trying. Very ineffective, though. It's World Kebab Day.
Love it.
It is Slurpee Day because it's... probably because it's 7-Eleven's birthday.
Yeah.
And it's National French Fry Day.
Yeah. And who doesn't like a French fry?
So if you're looking for an excuse to pull into the McDonald's fast food, the drive-in window and get something, or maybe to stop at one of our sponsors, you could order some fries.
I got to tell you something. I am so disappointed. I was looking at our Facebook page here.
Yes.
And Nobody has taken on this story this morning about the guy in France who forgot his wife at a gas station, drove 186 miles before he discovered that he forgot his wife, alerted the police, forgot where the gas station was, forgot the town that he got the gas in. They eventually tracked her down by tracking her cell phone. She waited for 4 hours, never called him. He never called her. We don't know if he knew she wasn't in the car. We don't think he did. He went back and picked her up, and they continued on their vacation to Morocco. From Paris to Morocco, they were driving. Apparently not the whole way, because you do have to cross the ocean at some point in time. But so I added a part to the question. I went in and edited this a little bit. And it's right there at the Gary Sutton Show at Facebook. Normally people are in on our questions every day, and nobody has taken this on.
Do you think this is a sign of perhaps guilt?
I don't know. But I put down, how do you think this story ended after he picked her up eventually? Your thoughts. What is the biggest thing you've ever left behind or forgotten on a trip? Now, I thought Kevin Smith this morning, in a series of true confessions here on our show, came out and said, I kind of did something along the line where he drove by a guy who was supposed to pick up for work because he was off. You know how we get daydreaming and we're thinking about things. And he drove by the guy who was standing out waiting for him, and he drove right past him.
By him.
Gets to work. The guy eventually gets a ride there some other way. He's like, Kevin, you forgot me this morning. And Kevin goes, oh my gosh. He says, I was in Smithville, which is like, you go off on your own and you're wandering. And like Sutton Land, it's so that was kind of in the same direction, but not quite a wife.
Right.
You didn't forget his wife, Ann, who's a lovely lady, by the way, and didn't leave her for 186 miles. Then have to, I'm missing. At
some
my
point.
Keys? Do I have my keys with me?
Yes.
Did I turn off the toaster? Geez, did I leave my wife? Where's my wife? How do you
would think?
And to me, the main part of that story, it was leaving his wife behind, driving 186 miles before he recognized she was in the car. I mean, there are certain essentials that have to be in the car, like your family. But have you ever? It does make some sense if you think you stopped at a roadside rest, or you stopped at in this case, a gas station to get gas. And maybe your wife was in the back seat with his daughter, his 22-year-old daughter who was sleeping. Well, maybe his wife was back there sleeping too. And he got out and was quiet, got the gas, got back in the car, drove off. And in the meantime, she goes, I think I'll go to the bathroom while he stopped, and doesn't tell him. But you still should be checking, shouldn't you?
You should, but I think what you're probably getting hung up on
I am.
is
It's
that
really bothered me.
Yes, well, no, and I understand. It's because it seems like there should be some sort of explanation, right?
Yeah, we need to hear from them.
We need an explanation. Now,
get them on the phone. Would you, Mark?
They're both alive.
Yeah.
We have two of them. There could be a follow-up story.
They're probably still on vacation.
However, here's a story where we have questions too, but it doesn't look like we're going to get any answers.
Firefighters say 43-year-old Dr. Walter Foxcroft was discovered dead when they rushed to his office on a report of a fire. His scorched body trapped inside the chamber. The late-night discovery puzzling to investigators who say they have no idea what he was doing inside the chamber. Foxcroft just last year launched the clinic where he died, the first such hyperbaric oxygen therapy center in the state. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
So he went inside this chamber.
Hyperbaric chamber.
Lots of oxygen. It's
Right.
supposed to help with healing and that kind of thing.
It does, yeah.
And
especially people who have amputations and things like that.
yes,
Yeah.
so he's in there.
Sure.
And he dies of burning?
Yeah, what happened there? So there's another story we need.
Yes, you got to have more details, more answers.
I'm waiting to hear a story over the weekend. Wife drowns husband in Morocco. And then that'll give me some answers that I need to hear from this whole other story, which has really intrigued me more than I probably should. And as you can tell, Mark is trying to soothe the savage beast in me and get some answers.
You can't know everything.
I know. But we'll wait for that story over the weekend.
Now, coming up after the news, which is in the next break,
thankfully,
there was an event. Yes, really.
Yeah, right.
There was an event 221 years ago. And we are sort of familiar with, I think, the general details, but there's the backstory is kind of interesting. And we're going to delve into that out of the break because Dr. Nick is unavailable today. So we thought we would take this opportunity. We did this a couple of days ago where there was another event. I don't remember what it was, but we, delved a little bit more into the details to give you a little bit better perspective.
Plus, maybe the worst decision ever. And Mark's got that for you this morning. You may have been involved in this, by the way. The worst decision ever, and you were there. By the way, this hour being brought to you by Regents Glen Country Club, where I'm a member. Everything Regents Glen has to offer talks about comfort and fun and relaxation. The award-winning Arthur Hills Design Golf Course, the wonderful fairway table where you get a nice leisurely dinner out on the deck, or go down below to the swimming pool there and get served dinner at the swimming pool. They got bocce courts, they've got pickleball courts, they got tennis courts, and they are affordable. Ladies and gentlemen, you can even live out at the golf course. You want to find out how? Give a call today to Lacey at 717-747-1919 and tell her Gary Sutton told you to call her and get the Regents Glen experience. She will be glad to take you around the property, show you things, give you the tour. Maybe you can stop by and have a little bit of dinner right there at the fairway table. They're at 1000 Golf Club Drive, 1000 Golf Club Drive, right here in York, just off Indian Rock Dam Road, across from Indian Rock Dam School. Regents Glen Country Club, the sponsor of this hour on the Gary Sutton Show, where it is 8:30.
The conflict between Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton had deep roots. Hamilton, a prominent Federalist, had repeatedly opposed the political ambitions of Burr, who was a Democratic Republican. This included Burr's bid for the presidency in 1800 and his campaign for governor of New York in 1804. The vice president viewed Hamilton's actions as slanderous and damaging to his career, and tensions escalated when Hamilton allegedly made derogatory remarks about Burr at a dinner party, which were later published. Feeling his honour was at stake, Burr challenged Hamilton to a duel. On the morning of July the 11th, the men met at Weehawken in New Jersey, where laws against duelling were less strictly enforced. While the exact details of the duel remain unclear due to conflicting accounts, it's generally accepted that Hamilton fired first, deliberately missing his opponent. Burr then aimed and shot Hamilton in the lower abdomen. Mortally wounded, Hamilton was transported back to New York City, yet died the following day. Hamilton's death shocked the nation, as he was a leading figure in American politics and instrumental in the country's founding. While his death weakened the influence of the Federalist Party, the duel also marked the beginning of Burr's political downfall. Although he completed his term as vice president, he was charged with murder in both New York and New Jersey. Although neither charge led to a conviction, his reputation was irreparably damaged. His later years were marked by controversy and scandal, and he even faced charges of treason related to an alleged plot to establish and lead an independent country.
And that was History Pod, who we have heard before.
Well, and the English guy did not do a good job with naming Aaron Burr, not Bear, Burr. And Aaron Burr is one of the most interesting characters in our history, along with Hamilton. Hamilton, of course, one of the fathers of our federal government. In fact, was the great pusher of federalism here in the country during that time. But Burr was interesting in that he ran for president. He ended up running as the vice presidential candidate with Thomas Jefferson in the election of 1800. And in those days, they didn't designate the votes when you cast your two votes for president and vice president. And so what ended up happening was they cast the votes. People cast the votes for the two of them. There were actually 4 people involved. And Burr and Jefferson tied for the presidency, even though the intention of people was to vote for Jefferson as president, Burr for vice president. And then there were a couple other people involved in there too. But ultimately, it went to the House of Representatives. They had 36 votes in the House of Representatives before we chose a president. A lot of people don't know about this. And what was interesting was you had to have more than half of the members of the House of Representatives. You get 1 vote per state. Had to have more than half of the states vote for you to win the presidency at that point. Well, what happened each time was there were, I think, 16 states at that time. And so there were 8 votes for Jefferson, 6 votes for Burr, and like 2 votes for somebody else. All right. Well, what they did, they kept voting and voting and voting 35 times. Well, finally, in the last vote, and then Maryland eventually switched over too, a guy named James Ross voted blank. And when he voted blank, he was the only guy voting for his state at that point. So when he did that, it went to 15 states. Jefferson still got 8 votes, which was more than half, and that's how Jefferson got elected in 1800. Burr, never forget it, Burr actually went out and started an uprising in the Louisiana Territory and was actually planning an uprising. He eventually got tried for treason and was let off because of the fact they couldn't find 2 or more witnesses to the overt act because he never had a chance to do it because he got caught before he did it.
So he wanted to do it.
He wanted to do it, but they never nailed him.
All right.
And so, and he was vice president at the time because he finished second in this election. He was the vice president, Jefferson. Jefferson wanted him out, but Burr was an interesting guy, one of the greatest marksmen in our country at that time. And of course, they say they don't think he really meant to kill Hamilton in that duel because in those days, gentlemen decided their differences by duels. They necessarily didn't try to kill each other. And apparently, they got 1 shot at each other. So the first shot came from Hamilton, who shot and hit a tree branch. And then Burr shot and hit him right in the abdomen, and he died.
The picture that they used in that YouTube video was of Hamilton firing in the air.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's an obvious, I don't mean
I'm
to
not
hurt
really
you.
going to hurt you. We got this thing settled.
When Burr fires and hits Hamilton wherever he, even if he hit him in the foot,
right?
I mean, that's a different story.
Yeah, the point was to prove a man willing to die for his honor and not to shed blood. So the many near duels, which were called affairs of honor at that time, were settled through usually negotiations. 11 of the 16 affairs of honor in New York City were settled in this manner. Only 5 honor disputes resulted in a duel, and this was one of them. And Burr had a law practice. He used to go out every day for half an hour and practice with his pistols. If you ever want to read a great story, Gore Vidal wrote a great history of Aaron Burr, one of the more interesting creatures of the American history scene.
So anytime anybody says, it's really crazy now, and it's the craziest it's ever been, just...
Yeah, it's not.
No.
And duels at that time were considered to be kind of illegal, but not. I mean, they were, if you got caught dueling, you could probably pay a fine or something. But it was kind of a gentleman's way of settling disputes.
Trying to think of, it might have been the most famous thing ever to happen in Weehawken.
Yeah, I don't know that Weehawken's had a lot going for it since then, but there you go. Anyway, what else do we have this morning?
Well, I mean, that is the ultimate. Would you like to do
the worst decision?
Would you like to do that?
I want to do that because a lot of you remember this of a certain age.
It happened on this date as well.
Yes, and
that's
an incredible story that. I'll let Mark take it from here.
Well, I mean, just to let you know that the previous the duel happened on this date 221 years ago. So the connection here is this date in history, and I'm having trouble with typing over here. There we go. And in this particular event happened not 221 years ago, but 40 years ago. And it happened in a very small window in the year 1985. In April, a major iconic brand in America decided to change the formula for their top-selling brand.
You know where we're going.
And all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. And then it was on this date, July 11th, 1985, TV networks actually interrupted afternoon soap operas to, update them on this story in that there was the new Coke. All right. That was the uproar that they were bringing back the old Coke. So this is So the management has to go before shareholders to explain this. So here's the CEO of Coke at the time talking about a note that was forwarded to him. And what did that note say?
What ignoramus decided to change the formula of Coke? The new formula is unexciting and it's as bad as Pepsi. Burn it. Here's a letter from California. I don't think I'd be more upset if you were to burn the flag in our front yard. Now, there's one consumer that we'd like to single out. He's Mr. Gay Mullins of Seattle, Washington. And I want him to know that the first case of Coca-Cola Classic will be hand-delivered to him in appreciation for his message.
What a treasure. Thank you, Mr. Conner.
He is accepting his Coke Classic.
Yes. The Coke Classic, in other words, we screwed up. We came back. They changed the formula, and it's an interesting story.
It is.
But they were in a battle with Pepsi at the time, and a Pepsi guy, I remember hearing the story on this morning as you were preparing, Mark, about, he said, I think the other side just blinked, which was a
Pepsi.
Was a statement from Robert McNamara during the Cuban Missile Crisis, by the way, when the Russians backed off their ships. Well, he said, and they said, we think the other side just blinked. Well, the same thing here, that Pepsi thought Coke just blinked by changing their formula. And you remember there was this uproar. And the guy said, I wouldn't have been as upset if you'd have burned the flag. That's about the same kind of thing that you're doing right here. So there you go. But
I actually liked the new Coke. But,
did you?
I did. I like a sweeter a sweeter soda.
No, I'm not. I like it. You know, I drink Diet Coke, which tells you an awful lot about me.
Yes, there you go.
Because you could also use that to fuel your car. But yeah, but it has
or clean the bumper.
Thank you, or burn things. But yeah, it's. But I like Diet Coke a lot. And but yeah. By the way, tomorrow, Saturday, July 12th at 9 a.m., 107 West Ridge Road in Dillsburg. They're having, Jack and Cheryl Hooks at Thomasville Country Auction are having an outstanding public auction of woodworking and garden tools, Mark, and commercial-grade landscaping equipment. So if you're in that area of landscaping and, woodworking, garden tools, they got a John Deere Gator 39 hours. They got Woods PRD 6000 mower deck. They got a Mantis tiller, Home Light LRI 5500 watts port. They got all kinds of stuff out there tomorrow. And all you've got to do to find out what's on that sale is go to thomasvilleCountryAuction.com right now. Go down to the whole thing about Saturday's public auction, and you will see all the things that they have up for tomorrow's sale. Now, if you are normally ready for a sale on Monday, Wednesday, and every other Saturday out of Thomasville Country Auction, they are ready for you. And maybe it's time for you to have a sale. Give Jack and Cheryl Hooks a call today at 717-764-5403. They are ready to help you to have your sale and make it right. Yeah, they've been doing it for over 40 years. And whether you're selling your real estate like Cheryl could do and save you lots of money, or you're moving, you're downsizing, you have an estate to settle, Jack and Cheryl Hooks can take care of it for you and make it the best sale decision you've ever made. Jack and Cheryl Hooks are at Thomasville Country Auction, and they've got this public sale tomorrow at 107 West Ridge Road in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, 17019. Stop out there and see them. By the way, no credit cards accepted. The terms are cash or approved PA check. They've got hundreds of miscellaneous items not listed yet, but they got all kinds of wonderful things on this sale, which has an outstanding array of woodworking, garden tools, and commercial-grade landscaping equipment at Thomasville Country Auction. Tomorrow, it's going to be located, the sale will be at 107 West Ridge Road, Dillsburg, PA 17019. Mark?
So coming up, we're going to have more unusual facts. Did you know? But I thought we would just do a little bit of a tease, a couple of geographic questions.
Yeah.
For example, like I find this fascinating, and there's no... It's just coincidence that this is the case. The geographical center of North America is a town in North Dakota.
Oh.
What's the name of the town?
I don't know. But we'll find out when we come back.
It's Center.
Center? That's the name of the
Yes.
center?
Yes, that's the name. It just happens to be Center, North Dakota.
Well, it makes sense.
Now, I've got one that we will tease into the break. Are you ready? Now, there is only one state in America that is triple landlocked. One triple landlocked state. That means that the state itself doesn't touch an ocean.
Right.
That the states bordering it don't touch an ocean. And that the states bordering them don't touch an ocean.
Wow.
What state is it? We'll find out next.
All here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. It's the main street of York. It's 848. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show. Little Stevie Wonder coming back here.
Boys born in hot time, Mississippi, surrounded by four walls that ain't so pretty. His parents give him love and affection to keep him strong, moving in the right direction, living just enough for the city.
There you go. A little Stevie Wonder coming back here on the show. Our final few minutes here. And Mark, what else do we have?
So, all right. So here's the question again is, did you know?
Right.
And there's only one. Did you know there's only one state that is triple landlocked?
Landlocked.
That means, so landlocked means the state doesn't touch an ocean. But then the states bordering it also don't touch an ocean. And triple landlocked, the states bordering them don't touch an ocean. There's only one.
I'm going to take a wild guess, and this is without any real thought into it.
Okay.
Montana.
That's not a bad guess.
Yeah.
But Montana is next to Washington State.
Yeah.
So that would be just landlocked.
So it's got to be one of those out to like
It's
the
further
Dakotas or, you know.
Yes, further inland. It's actually Nebraska.
Nebraska. Okay.
Nebraska is the one.
Yeah.
So,
which is kind of a nothing state, you know.
It stands out because it's a triple landlocked.
Sure.
How about
Maybe
this?
one of the reasons people don't go there, you can't go to the shore real easily, and, you know, what the heck?
This says that the record for the most flowers sold in a single day was on this date in 1977. Do you know what date it was?
I don't know.
It was in August, and it was August 17th, the day after Elvis died.
Yeah. By the way, we've been talking this week about Amazon Prime Days. The deal ends tonight, I guess.
Have you bought anything yet?
I haven't, but, you know, they're saying now that a lot of people are buying stuff because of the tariffs, that they're not sure what the tariffs are going to do to Christmas. And so you're getting a lot of Christmas shopping right now. I was reading this thing. They talked about all the various things that are going on, and that the most popular last chance Amazon day is today. And that it ends tonight, obviously, at midnight. So they're saying the Apple AirPods Pro 2 wireless earbuds are one of the big things that people are buying.
Interesting.
Grandpa's Weeder, the original stand-up weed puller tool. That sounds promising. Portable charger, 40,000 mAh power bank. The Black & Decker Dustbuster Advanced Clean Cordless Handheld Vacuum. And number 5, the Apple AirTags 4-pack. Super helpful for keeping track of your valuables, apparently. There you go.
When you put that in.
And number 6, by the way, the iRobot Roomba 104 robot vacuum plus mop combo with auto empty deck and drink cooler.
Yeah,
no, the drink cooler is one I added.
Do you have one of those?
I don't. Yeah, not yet.
No,
not yet.
Check out this.
Mine. I do have one. It's called Deborah.
If you need,
my wife.
Yes, I got it.
Right there.
If you need a feel-good story, maybe this will do it.
When he arrived a bit late for services at the Cross Point Community Church in Wayne, Michigan, June 22nd, Deacon Richard Pryor saw a gunman moving towards the doors. He didn't have a weapon, so Pryor used his F-150 truck to ram the gunman, who was eventually killed by church security. However, the truck was ruined by multiple gunshots. So Thursday, a local Ford dealership said thank you by giving Pryor a brand new F-150.
Just can't be more than enough thankful for everybody's support.
Thanks to Pryor, no one died in the incident.
Just grateful for the Lord's protection.
His congregation, grateful for its deacon. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
And by the way, Superman, the new Superman is coming out this weekend. So I read an article in USA Today that ranked the Supermen who have appeared. And so here's number 9, Kirk Allen. Kirk Allen was in 1948.
No, don't know him.
Yeah, no. He sucked. It was bad. Superman, Kirk Allen wasn't the most jacked hero, but he definitely brought a wholesome goodness to the character in 1948. Number 8, Brandon Routh. Brandon Routh looked the role, had the potential to become one of the best ever, but Bryan Singer's 2006 film, Superman Returns, was just an okay film. Never took off. Studio hoped it would. Number 7, Dean Cain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dean Cain, do-gooder, was more soapy than Super in 4 seasons of ABC's 1990 show Lois and Clark, so he wasn't a very good Superman. Henry Cavill. Remember Henry Cavill?
I do.
Yeah, another case of a potentially really good Superman undermined by his movie in Zack Snyder's 2013 Man of Steel and 2016's Batman vs. Superman. It sucked. Yeah. And so Henry did not ever take off. Tyler Hoechlin. A lot of folks slept on Tyler Hoechlin's portrayal of the comic book hero in 2016 on CW's Supergirl and Arrowverse cameos before starring for 4 seasons on Superman and Lois. Didn't work. Tom Welling, number 4, spend 10 seasons leading a TV show and you must do something right. No one spent longer playing Clark Kent than WB's Smallville star Tom Welling, but it didn't work.
Never heard of him.
No, he's terrible. David Corenswet, the newest guy, is number 3.
And that's based on this movie?
They say he gets the guy to his core. He saves kids from monster-fueled mayhem, property damage. He risks international incidents to save people who need him. He stops everything to go find his dog. Number 2, George Reeves, kind of the original one for I'm saying. He was on the series.
Yes.
George Reeves originally, and it kind of ironic, committed suicide. Yeah. And then finally, Christopher Reeve, the number 1 Superman. He was the GOAT. He was the GOAT. Most people are saying in this thing.
This is one of the
final thoughts. Yeah.
This is one of the oddest stories I have heard this week. When you're trying to put a value on something, gold, diamonds, all kinds of things. I don't think handbags are up there.
One of the most sought after handbags in the world, the classic Birkin, can easily start at $12,000 in an Hermes boutique. More on the secondary market, but that's a mere fraction of what the original just went for at auction in France, where a private collector from Japan paid a record $10.1 million, including fees, for the prototype made for and owned by Jane Birkin, who the bag's named for. The actress and singer, remembered for her laid-back sense of style, sat next to an Hermes executive during a flight in the 80s. She was struggling with the amount of space in her straw basket bag, and that, as the story goes, prompted him to design the Birkin. The previous record was held by an Hermes Kelly, $500,000. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
I'm pretty sure the guy that won the bid on that was the guy that left his wife behind for 186 miles, and she said, come on, we're going to buy a Birkin. And that's what happened. That's finally the end of the story. I finally got the answer, I think. Anyway, Revs on tonight, 6:10 airtime, 6:30 first pitch. Don't forget, this hour has been brought to you by Regents Glen Country Club. Give a call today to 717-747-1919 and take a tour. Ask for Lacey. They're at 1000 Golf Club Road right here in York. Go Revs tonight. Have a great weekend, everyone. Be safe out there. Thank you to Mark. Thank you to you. I'm Gary Sutton. See you Monday. It's 9 o'clock.